Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought we would make kind of a little fun video of some of the things that happen while you're at the track. At this past event, there was quite a few things that happened on track that we managed to catch on the cameras, and thought we'd put them all together and share it with you guys. Now, normally most events are not that eventful in regards to what I can catch on film, but this one in particular just had a lot going on. So the first one is actually going to be about me, and it's finding the braking zone. So at Thunderhill East, on the back straight, there is, you're coming down on the last double right-handed turn before the front straight, and there's a bridge. And usually after the bridge, there's a set of cones on the left, and I tend to use those cones as a visual reference point as to determine where to brake going into that corner. And I've always had a tough time with this particular braking zone, and at this event they didn't put cones out this time. So there's a couple short clips here of me just kind of working through finding the right place to brake.
Over brake that. Car really wants to lurch to the right when they're braking. I gotta nail that braking zone. They didn't put cones out today, so I'm just staring at it blind. Whoops! I'm just way too early on that. I gotta find a good visual aid. Better on the brakes there. Maybe overslowed it. No, I'm pushing though. Oh, gained a good chunk of time there.
Okay, so that was me just hunting for the braking zone on the back straight of Thunderhill. Hopefully you guys found that interesting. I thought it was kind of funny, but whatever. The next one is going to be a Golf R, and this Golf R was stupid fast. We'd come on in the straights and he would just take off. So in one of the sessions, I was behind him, and he was barreling down the front straight, and I could barely see him, and all of a sudden I see a huge puff of smoke. And for me, the front straight is about 120, 125 miles an hour, and I start to worry that it's oil. And as I get closer, I realized it was just him locking up his brakes. But I can't imagine what this guy was thinking in the car, barreling down at, had to have been faster than my speed, so 130, 135 miles an hour into turn one, and then locking up his front left tire. So here's the clip.
Not sure what that smoke was. Oh, he locked it up. As long as it's not oil.
So, don't know about you guys, but if I were to lock my brakes going to turn one at that speed, that'd be a definite code brown. So props to whoever's driving that Golf R. I mean, that was balls to the walls. It was amazing. Okay, so the next clip is actually of a Model 3. And so Model 3s are relatively new, so it's really cool to see someone take a Model 3 out onto the racetrack. And I think this may have been at least a dual motor Model 3, if not, I guess like one of the performance versions with the track mode. Whoever was driving this Model 3 was going all out. I had the pleasure of sitting behind him for a good number of laps, and he was just going for it at every turn, and must have known the track because he could dive into the corners and do things that I simply wouldn't be able to do in the WRX. So here is the Wild Model 3.
All over the place.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's rare to see a guy push a car so hard at the racetrack, let alone it being one of the brand new Model 3, probably a performance package out there. So it looked like he was on the stock Michelins, and it sure as hell sounded like it, right? Okay, so the next one is actually of me, and you can't tell it from this from the video, but I freak out in the car, and there's a little bit of a backstory to this. 10 years ago, I took my Nissan NX 2000 to Thunderhill, and I blew the motor up. It was again coming down that back straight to the double right-handed turn on the front straight, and I think I spun a bearing, and it felt like the car kind of lost a little bit of power. Missed the pit exit and had to go around the track to get out. And between turn 1 and 2, I think the bearing seized, shot a piston out, and spilled oil all over the track. It was super traumatizing, and my buddy in his Miata was behind me. He hit the oil patch and spun out off of turn 2. So that has been ingrained in my mind, and a lot of the videos that you see about being technical and kind of checking on the car and all that kind of stuff really stems from that one incident in my driving career, right? Because I never want to have it happen again. It was dangerous for me, and it was dangerous for other people on track. Okay, so in this particular video clip, I come out of that same corner and the car loses all power. And I'm staring at the gauges, trying to understand what's going on. Did I blow a charge pipe? Did I blow the motor? And it isn't until I get to the very end of the straight and I get back on the gas do I realize it was fuel pressure cut. So we had begun the session with half a tank, and by lap 6 or 7, apparently the gas gauge wasn't as accurate as I thought it was. Actually went through a quarter of a tank, and I was pretty much had a quarter left. And with that high G double right-handed turn, I think I pulled fuel away from the pump. So for the good front stretch, I was freaking out about the car, and I was also on a personal best lap. So there's a lot going on there, and here is the video. So I spared you guys the clip of me actually going around the entire track with my hand out the window. It was kind of like the track day guys walk of shame, right? Held up a bunch of cars, and everyone knew something was wrong, right? You don't see that arm come out going into turn 1. You might see it at turn 12 or turn 13, but you're not going to see that arm at turn 1 or 2. So everyone who passed me knew something's wrong, and I apologize. And in fact, my buddy, who also has an STI, pulled off the track afterwards. Thank you, Uncle. And he was having the same issue. And in fact, he had reminded me before we gone out, hey, we're kind of low on fuel. Should we refuel? So you live and learn. Okay, so the next video is actually of 370Z, and was behind this 370Z for maybe 1.5 laps, 2 laps, and I call him the 370Z drifter, just because in 2 sections of the course he kind of loses it in the corner. In one of them he hangs the tail out real tight, or real long, and holds it real nicely. And then in the second one, he tries to recover because I think it's a little bit of a high-speed turn, and didn't have that much track to work with. Now, I don't think he was actually trying to drift the car. I think the issue here was that he tapped the brake mid-corner and unloaded the rear. But you guys can be the judge of that. Here are the clips. So that was pretty cool. That guy really hung it out on the first one and did a great job of saving the car on the second one and then dodging the end of the curb, right? So he tracks out and is trying to catch the car, and then the curb kind of ends and you can see him just weave back onto the track. So that's great car control. Let's see. Okay, so the next one is actually of me and my hunt for the for 205. So obviously my personal best at this track, new personal best is 2 minutes and 5 seconds, plus or minus like 0.2 of a second. But the car was on track to hit 205 in every single session. And something was just happened to stop me, right? So in session 1, checkered flag. Session 2, checkered flag. Session 3, fuel cut, and didn't get my 205 on the books until session 4. And just kind of want to show you how I progressed from being nonchalant about it to getting a little more flustered.
Damn, I was on track for a 205 and I got checkered. Right there, 205. It was a low, maybe even a 204 if I nailed that braking zone at the end of the back straight. Oh well. Damn, again! So I'm 205 and a half and then I get the checkered flag. Oh God. It took me so long to get in my element.
Okay, so those two clips actually tie into the kind of next set of clips that I want to show you, and I'm calling these clips the mysterious Z4. So there was a Z4 out there in session 1, 2, probably 3, but I got fuel cut and had to leave the track, and in 4 that I kind of would pass, and he'd either be going quite slow or he would have his arm out the window. So I'm not sure if he was struggling with a mechanical issue, or maybe was in the wrong run group. I'm not too sure, which is why I'm calling him the mysterious Z4. It ties into the personal best because in session 4, I have to pass him on the outside of the bypass because I am pushing to lock down an official 205 in my data logger, and admittedly it wasn't the wisest pass I've ever made. You could tell he was aware that I was coming in the video, but this isn't the type of passing I like to do at track days. I do like to be patient. I like to pass in straights. I like to pass when people know I'm coming. So this is more of an apology to that Z4 owner. Hopefully we're on good terms and that doesn't kind of piss you off. Okay, so that was the mysterious Z4. Again, I apologize to the owner of that car. That's not the way I like to pass, and hopefully that didn't upset you too much. Or maybe I'm just blowing it up and it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. If anyone knows that owner and can share what the mechanical issue was, that'd be kind of cool and interesting to know. Okay, so I've got one more clip for you guys, and I'm calling this one, Please Don't Mow Me Down. So the setup to this one is that we've got a Camaro ZL1, maybe a 1LE, I'm not too sure, and then we've got the 370Z Drifter behind him, and we are coming through turn 2, and you can tell that the Camaro steps out on the driver and he attempts to catch it and counter, and it just snaps. The car snaps, veers off to the right, goes off the track and up the hill. and the 370Z passes, and at this point, I'm thinking that he's going to go up the hill and kind of stop up there and then mosey his way back down. So I continue on my racing line going into turn 3. But as I reach kind of the braking zone for turn 3, I also see this Camaro coming down the hill. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe he can't stop, right? So the car's gone off track, it's gone up the hill, it's come back down, and he just doesn't have the traction to slow the car down. And you can see me in kind of the helmet angle, look out my passenger mirror as this Camaro is barreling down right at me. But luckily, made it through the corner just fine, and you can see in the rearview mirror that or in the rearview camera that the Camaro kind of hops back onto the track and he slams on the brakes. I actually think it was better that I stayed on the gas, committed to the racing line going into turn 3, than to have braked, because there's a chance there if I did try to brake, we'd actually just meet at the same point on the track and actually have a collision. So this is, please don't mow me down. Yeah, so that was pretty close. I'm kind of curious to see if that Camaro wasn't able to stop coming down the hill, and that's why he kind of came down at I guess what looked like a good speed. If anyone knows the owner, or if you're watching this, just comment below. That'd be kind of cool to know. That's about it for what happened at the event. Again, this is one of the more interesting ones. Right? Normally we got there and nothing kind of happens. But just, I don't know, maybe it was Memorial Day weekend, there's something in the water, not sure. But everyone made it home okay, and there's some interesting stories to tell. So guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.